Okay, doing binomial distributions on a TI-84. Here's our binomial distribution problem, and what I've done is determined that after research we know that 32% of all Spain Park students do not have a soul, and we choose 5 students at random to determine whether or not they have a soul. Alright, so in these situations, what you need to do is determine what is considered success, what is considered failure, and to identify the percent chance of each of those. In this case, success, and I know this sounds weird, but success is not having a soul. Whatever percentage I give you, that's going to be your probability, that's going to be your success category. So P, which is success, is going to be 0.32, which means in this problem, failure is possessing a soul. So failure means you do have a soul. And if 32% don't have a soul, then that means Q, which is our failure rate, is 0.68. That's the percent that do have a soul. And then N is the number of people being randomly chosen, and so N is going to be 5 because we chose 5 students. And I ask you to find mean and standard deviation and to construct a binomial distribution and all that. Let's go ahead and construct the binomial distribution. This one is where you do the combinations. There are 5 students chosen, so I chose 5 students, and this first entry is going to tell me the probability that none of the 5 do not have a soul. So if I want none of them to be successful, then I want to do 5 choose 0, and then the successful percentage, 0.32, to the 0, because I don't want any successes, which means all 5 of them, right, for this category, for 0 here, need to be successful. And then I will do 5, if I want to know the probability that exactly 1, I don't know why it says P of 0, that exactly 1 does not have a soul. That means 1 is now successful, so 0.32 to the first, and then that means 4 of the 5 would not be successful. They'd be in the soul possession group. Alright, then 5 choose 2. I need 2 to be successful, so 32% squared times 68% to the 3rd power, and then we'll continue for the other 3. There we go. And then one by one we will punch these in the calculator. So on the TI-84, the way we punch these in the calculator, if you don't remember, we did this before, but it's actually you punch in the top number first, then you find the NCR command, and then you do the bottom number. So I want 5 choose 0, so I'll hit 5. Let me clear this out. There's a lot of stuff. So I said clear this out. Clear. So I'll do 5, and then NCR, what we'll do is we hit the math button. So there's the math button. When you push the math button, this menu pops up. We want to go over to PRB for probability, and NCR is right here. So 5, NCR 0, and I'm going to put that in parentheses because I need to do that times 0.32 to the 0, 0.68 to the 5th. So I'll close parentheses. I need to go back to the beginning and insert parentheses, so let me do that. Where's the insert button? There it is. So insert there. And then I need to multiply that by 0.32 to the, gee, seriously? Seriously? Alright, hang on a second. Let me get this fixed. Here we go, I think that's where I was. So I have 5 choose 0, 5 choose 0, that should be 0.32, not negative 32. Let's fix that. 0.32 to the 0. Come on! What is wrong with me? 0.32 to the 0. Finally! Alright, so 5 choose 0, 0.32 to the 0, and then I need 0.68 to the 5th. Let's see if I can get this one right. 0.68 to the 5th. There we go. I'll hit enter, and we get 0.145 for this one. So I'll write down 0.145 equals 0.145, which is a 14.5% chance that 0 of the 5 students do not have a soul. Then I'll repeat the same thing, except I need to do 5 choose 1. Now I'm going to show you a little trick on the TI-84s. Y'all probably know this, but if you hit the second button, so let me show you the keypad. If you hit the second button and then jump down and hit the enter button, so second, enter, it actually recalls the very last thing you entered. So now I'm simply going to go up and I'm going to change it to 5 choose 1, 0.32 to the 1st power, and then 0.68 to the 4th power, Hit enter, and you get 0.342. So I get 0.342, which is 34.2% chance that exactly one of the 5 do not have a soul. And then we will punch in all of the rest. So I'll hit second enter to recall that last one. I need to do 5 choose 2 now. So 5 choose 2, 0.32 to the second power, and then 0.68 to the third power. Hit enter, you get 0.322. So equals 0.322, which is 32.2%. And then we'll punch in those other 3 as well. All right, there we go. So those are my percentages that number of the 5 that number of the 5 do not own a soul, possess a soul. Then I ask you to find the mean and standard deviation. We actually could have answered number 8 before we even did the table, because mean and standard deviation are based off your values of p, q, and n. Your mean, which is mu, is n times p. N is 5, p is 0.32, and when you do 5 times 0.32, you get 1.6. So the mean is 1.6, so out of 5, the average says that 1.6 out of 5 students do not possess a soul. And then my standard deviation, which is sigma, is the square root of npq. And the square root of npq, so square root of 5 times 0.32 times 0.68, you get 1.043. And so there is your standard deviation. All right, number 9, the probability that exactly 2 of the 5 do not have a soul, or have no soul. So probability that 2 of the 5 have no soul, that's going to be this one, 0.32 or 32.2%. So that's the probability that exactly 2 of the 5 have no soul. The probability that at least 3. Now this one's a little bit more difficult, because this one I'm looking for the probability that you have 3, but at least 3, which means 4 or 5 is also an option. So the probability of 3, 4, or 5, what we're going to do is simply add the probabilities for each one of those 3. So 15.2 plus 3.6 plus 0.3. When you punch that in, you get 19.1. So there is a 19.1% chance that 3, 4, or 5 of these students, at least 3, have no soul. So there you go with a binomial distribution with the TI-84.